Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to review Bambu Lab P1S today with AMS system. I guess I'm late for this game, but let's see what we got. I was going to order P1P early this year when it first released on February. It was still early bird order during that time. You could get a camera and other stuff as a gift. But I was swinging between P1P versus sovol SV06 and Neptune 3 Pro. Yes, for the price of one P1P, you could get roughly 2 good budget 3D printers. And I choose 2 printers instead of 1. Until I got my next paycheck, P1P was encountered some major quality control issue due to the printers being rushed out of production line. Due to that reason, I put a hold for that again. Until recently, they have released P1S, which is an upgrade version of a P1P if you would like to call it. Plus, I have finally convinced my next ex-wife to have permission to buy another expensive printer. So, you have paid that amount of money, or you are someone considered buying one. Because you heard so many people talk about it, you better know where the money is going for. Let me briefly explain the current Bambu Lab lineup. Unlike a creality, they don't have under 3 and its 800 cousins. They only have 3 models, P1P, P1S, and X1C. X1C was first released onto the market in August 2022. I guess you have seen so many reviews on YouTube. Soon they have released a barebone version of the X1C called P1P. Its P at the end stands for poor, perfect for me. P1P set out MSRP at $699, which is a lot cheaper compared to X1C. Or if you come with my way, that's roughly the price of 2 budget 3D printers. The community has so many positive voices to the P1P. Many people call it hyper or game changer. It is printing so fast with a good printing quality and has a free sale experience. There is no other printer at this price point that could compete with it before Creality released its K1. Unlike a P1P, K1 comes with a mixed bag reviews since it was first released. In fact, there are a lot of people willing to pay more extra dollars and go for P1P. As mentioned, P1P is a barebone version of the X1C. They have removed all the fancy bells and whistles, but leave for most basic features, as shown in the pictures. July 13, Bambu Lab released P1S. They have added some of the features back and sell a price at $699. With AMS multi-color printing system, it will be $949 plus tax and shipping. It will be a little over $1,000. For this money, you will get an enclosure printer space that has a 256mm x 256mm x 256mm printing volume. The build plate is double-sided PEI sheet. The enclosure has a metal rear panel, 2 plastic side panels, glass front door, and glass top lid. The cooling and filtration system is adding back on P1S. It will be great for printing smelly filament like ABS. P1S also comes with a built-in camera with a time-lapse capable, but the resolution is poor. You could also use a mobile app to see the print in real time through a camera. It is worth to mention that all the motion systems are the same across all 3 models. They all have 500mm per second and 20,000 acceleration printing speed capable. But X1C comes with a hardened gear extruder and hardened nozzles. If you are only printing PLA and PETG, P1P might be the best one for you. If you are planning to print some ABS, ASA, or polycarbonate, P1S could be a best choice. However, if you are going to print a lot of carbon fiber and filament, you might want to go for X1C. Or if you don't care about money, just go for X1C. Let's briefly talk about AMS system. AMS system is automatic material management system, which enables the printer to automatically change the filament during printing by working with a highly integrated Bambu Lab Studio slicer, which you can print out some part like this. P1S comes with everything pre-built. You will only need to unpack the printer and unbolt few screws. There is no moving part you require to calibrate, which is a huge bonus for beginners. However, the setup time is not like 15 minutes as many videos have stated. You will still need to run the initial setup wizards and learn how to use a Bambu Lab Studio slicer, which is a little different from prusa slicer and creality. But as you get used to the layout, it's very easy to use. Bambu Lab only include a few paper with the printer. The instructions are very minimal. You may need to search for some video to help you set up a printer. Overall, the setup is another level compared to other 3D printers that I have used before. However, it still takes me almost an hour to start my first print. So, just for your reference. Bambu Lab Studio Slicer will automatically add some calibration work before every print. It will take roughly around 5 to 7 minutes, including the heating time. The total print time I put on the screen is including those times. As always, let's start with a calibration cube. I'm using a sample filament that comes with the printer. The printing color looks awesome. This is the one of the best calibration cube that I've seen right out of the box. However, look at underneath, there is some gaps between parameter and infills. I might need to increase a little on the first layer height to make it feel a little better. Let's rotate it 45 degrees with a strong light source. The dimensions are very accurate too. Next, I want to try out Banshee with other color of sample filament. I forgot to increase the first layer thickness. As you can see, the print failed twice due to the first layer not sticking on the build plate. Even redo the auto back leveling, it's still not sticking well. I couldn't find anywhere I could put a Z offset value on. But after I simply increased the first layer thickness from 0.2 to 0.28, the problem was fixed. I also have leave all the speed setting at default on the slicer, so the bench is not a crazy fast one. Let's take a look at a finished Banshee. The printing quality looks amazing. The layer finish is very nice, and the print quality is just outstanding overall. Besides, there's a little remaining filament that stick on the nozzle that got mixed on the bottom. Next, I'm using my own filament to test 26-minute Banshee from the micro SD card that comes with the printer. My eyes could barely catch the motion of the extruder. This thing is crazy, man. And the total printing time is... The Banshee looks okay. There are many defects overall. Also, I quickly noticed that the layer line looks thicker than 0.2mm one, compared to the one that I sliced. Well, maybe I should have used the same filament just to be fair, but you can tell the differences. I continue to use the same filament to run a complex model. This gear bearing has a lot of small components next to each other. The tolerance is very tight between components. As you can see, all the detail finish and layers looks really good. There are no overhang issues on small gears. After simple push on the gears, it could spin free with no issue. That's nice. I swapped the filament to tricolor silk filament and run with a white model. I love how it turned out. Well, if you like this model, the link is attached on the description below. Yep, I designed this. I continue to change to another low special filament. This blue marble PLA is one of my favorite filament. The slicer automatically at the brim zone, so I just let it be. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let me remove the brim first. As you can see, the filament blends a layer so well. You must bring it really close to you to find layer lines. Quickly go through the bodies. All the layer lines and the shape looks clean.
I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all wanna ring. Yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing.
In comparison, these two are the same model with same infill that I print with the Neptune 3 Pro. They all looks good to me, but Neptune 3 Pro require almost a double printing time. Let's move to the PETG filament. This color jargon model has intensive number of a small parameter. The printing speed and acceleration does not give a big bonus for model like this. The prints turn out pretty good. All the small parameter finishing looks good. Besides, there are some cooling issue on top. I changed to another color of PETG again. This rocky jargon takes around 4 hours to print. At first glance, the print looks good, but when you look closer, you'll find out a lot of overhang cooling issue around the joint area. The infill on the first layer also does not look good on some spot as well. I guess the overall finishing looks okay. I run TPU with this box insert design for my mouse. The TPU filament runs through the AMS system, which you should not try it. I did get a print done with no issue, but it clogged after print was done. The print looks okay for a functional part. There is some amount of stringing inside the part. After fixing the clog issue on the AMS system, I changed the TPU filament feeding through the single line system. The printing speed was not changed, but when I select the TPU filament, there is a general flow rate limit to a TPU, which will override the printing speed setting. But with the TPU filament and this model to testing and retraction, the printing speed is not going to reach the max setting value anyways. The printing time is similar to what I have tested on the Neptune 3 Pro. The legs and the body looks all good, but when it's moved to the top, since the TPU filament part is not stationary, the antlers actually looks horrible. The print looks bad, but it did pass the TPU stress test. Next, I have finally closed the front door and let the enclosure that I paid for do its job. The glow in the dark ABS was tested. I put two parts together. However, one of the small part failed and cooked a lot of spaghettis. There was a lot of overhang coming with the model design. Overall finish looks really good. Due to the filament color, my camera was not able to fully catch the layer lines. But if you believe me, I'll tell you it looks really good. I did try rerun the small failure part again, but it fails at the same area again even I add the brim on the bottom. I should have added some support to it. I print the gear bearing with the same filament again. Let me show you how it glows in the dark. Absolutely amazing, man. Love it. Next, let me briefly show you what can AMS system do. Bambu Lab Studio is a powerful tool that you can modify and paint the model for the color change. But when you try to make some color change across multiple layers, it becomes a pain in the butt. As you can see the breakdown time here, the amount of wasting filament during a color change is a nut, and the printing hours are painful too. I just add the color across multiple layers to demonstrate what you can do with the AMS system. On the other hand, color change over same layer to make print like this, it's where I prefer. The printer and AMS system just do everything for you, not filament change needed. The end result looks good, even though there still a lot of filament was wasted. Another simple print. Looks cute. Final thought of P1S with AMS. Well, first I would say it is a lot of money. After experiencing for 3 weeks, I was trying to find some key things that could justify the $1,000 that I paid for. Let's first talk about the pro first. First, I would say the printing quality and speed are truly amazing. Throughout the test, I did not change the speed setting from a slicer. It has left with a default setting roughly 250 mm per second printing speed and 10,000 mm squared accelerations. The float rate on slicer settings sometimes override the maximum printing speed, but overall, P1P could print PLA, PETG, TPU, and ABS with fast speed. The printing time is almost 3 times or more faster than the Ender 3 and still return a good or better printing quality. The printing quality is very consistent, and I would say it is one of the best printing qualities right out of the box that I have. The printer comes with a very tight tolerance. The retraction is good, the float rate is well controlled. The part cooling fan is good. I have run through some of the harder models with a high speed. They all have came out great. Second, the user experience. The user experience is most hassle-free 3D printer by far. Don't get me wrong, it is still far away from the appliance that you could simply plug in and play. If you are a beginner, there are still a lot of learning curve of this printer, including the slicer setting and the printer behavior itself. But the initial setup without requiring any calibration and adjustable any moving part, including the tensioner wheel, wheels, bed leveling, is a huge bonus for beginner to start. You could follow the initial setup wizard. It will do almost everything for you. The printer itself, slicer, and mobile app are highly integrated. There is attention to detail, and everything is well thought out. Third, the AMS system is a highlight of a Bambu Lab printers. It pushes the capability of this printer to another level. It is also the main reason I bought this printer. It is not unicorn in the market with a multi-color capability, like Prusa have their MMU3 system that could print up to 5 colors at the same time. In terms of the printer itself and the overall cost, I really prefer P1S with AMS. Fourth, the enclosure that comes with this printer really helps when you're printing some film like ABS and ASA. The active carbon filter system seems to work well. I still wouldn't recommend you to stay in the same room with no ventilation during ABS printing, but I have tested with the door closed. I could barely smell anything during the printing. Also, the chamber temperature really helps with the overall quality for ABS part. Fifth, all the replacement parts are sold at Bambu Lab site. You could purchase almost all the accessories you need to replace a part for your printer. Most of the accessory prices are fair. Because it's so popular, you can find off-brand cheaper parts all over the place as well. The part ships from Bambu Lab site is relatively fast. Now, like all those 3D printers that I have reviewed, P1S is not perfect printer. First, the printer is loud. During high-speed printing, the motion creates a lot of noise and vibration, and the cooling fan also makes a lot of noise. At the nighttime, I could hear the printer noise on the outside of the apartment with the 2 or 3 drywalls in between. I put my printer behind my work desk. I almost need to put earphone on every time just to reduce the noise. I already have some hearing issue on my 30s. I don't want to be deaf in my 40s. If you are someone who has limited space and must live with the printer at the same room, this might be a deal breaker for you. The noise will be reduced if you are printing with a slower speed. And turn the accessory fan off. But why would you pay this amount of money for a slower printer? Also, Bambu Lab Studio automatically adds some calibration feature before print. It normally takes 6 to 7 minutes before printing, but I think you should be able to change the sun setting from a slicer and remove those calibration things. Second, the enclosure is a blessing and curse. Depends on what filament you are working on. If you are printing PLA and PETG, sometimes you will not do well with the door closed. The ambient temperature within a printer will cause the overhang looks bad. Sometimes you might encounter a nozzle clog due to filament melting within the hot end. Open the front glass door will fix this problem, but the vibration shakes door badly during the printing, and it's just not convenient overall. Third, the AMS system is really a highlight for this setup, but it will not be able to print filament like TPU. Well, during my test, it could print TPU with no issue. But there is a high chance to clog the filament within the AMS system. Also, if you have wet filament that break easily, make sure you dry it or just don't use it with the AMS system because you will clog the system as well. The amount of a waste filament during color change is a lot. It really depends on how you modify the model and the amount of color change it requires. It could be sometimes cause crazy amount of waste filament and increase a lot of printing hours. Fourth, the Bambu Lab printer is closed source printer. Well, the Bambu Lab Studio slicer is open source, but the machine itself and the firmware is closed source, which means just like your phone and other appliance, you will be highly reliant on the manufacturer to fix all the problems. Now, there's already discussion regarding this within the community, why or why not support a closed source printer. But I think for most people, the matter is how much a printer costs and how well the printing quality it can deliver. It is particularly not a bad thing in my opinion. The Bambu Lab have its own ecosystem. When you are using a Bambu Lab printer with a Bambu Lab Studio slicer and Bambu Lab filament that able to detect the color and preload the setup on the slicer, it's really helpful for beginners to speeding up the learning process. On the other hand, while I'm waiting for my printer to be shipped, there is an issue with the Bambu Lab Cloud server. Many people have encountered issue with sending the files to the printer wirelessly. You could still use a micro SD card to set a print. It is leading to my next concern. Fifth, if you like to use a feature that could send print file wirelessly, you must download the add-on from the slicer and give it some sort of permission. It will also asking you to get some sort of permission to upload your data to a cloud. Many people are concerned about their data privacy and cybersecurity thing, but it is kind of, you have to agree the terms and conditions to able to use the server. Otherwise, you have to start with the micro SD card. 6. The Bambu Lab machine have a little different hot end design. The nozzle is press fit with an entire hot end. If your nozzle comes to the end of the lifespan or it clogs badly, you'll have to replace the entire hot end assembly, which the cost is acceptable, but not as cheap as standard spec nozzle. You'll also need to pay attention not to push too much pressure or set up too much flow rate on the sun filament, because the nozzle will get pushed out the hot end if it's overflow. Also, the extruder gear assembly is considered as a tier wear part, just something to be aware. The carbon fiber linear rod on the x-axis is something that I personally concern. I have already had some light scratch on it. I don't know how well it will last long term, but X1C have been released over a year. I don't see any people have complained about a carbon fiber rod, so it should be fine. I would say if you don't mind the things that I mentioned above, or you have $1,000 burning in your pocket, just go get one and you get impressed. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Where should I look?
Yeah, look right there. Where you were looking. No, look back where you were looking.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to review Bambu Lab P1S with AMS system.
Whoosh. Oh, what?
Hey, you motherfucker.